the Ukraine-Russia war reaches a new phase. In the early days of 2022, the world's focus was on moving enough artillery shells and tanks into Ukraine to blunt a fast-moving Russian onslaught. Fast forward to now, the fifth year of the conflict, and the picture has changed. President Volodymyr Zelensky has shifted his rhetoric from ground to air. This is a decisive battle in the sky. That's a decision that hinges on the West's support as well as on Ukraine's own technological edge. The ground front has reached a frustrating stalemate. Russian forces are still pushing into Ukrainian territory, but progress is slow and costly. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Ukraine reported that in the month of June it killed or wounded almost 40,000 Russian soldiers, roughly 1,300 casualties per square kilometer of area seized or infiltrated. That attrition rate is 19 times higher than it was a year earlier. Ukrainian troops are becoming more effective at slowing the Russian advance while inflicting heavier losses, but the war on the ground is still essentially a fight of endurance. In contrast, the battle in the air has become the new arena of decisive action, where territory is less important than capacity. Russia is launching continuous salvos of drones, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles against Ukraine. In response, Kyiv's forces are deploying increasingly sophisticated and longer-range drones, striking Russian-occupied Crimea to starve its supply lines, driving Russian naval presence out of the Black Sea, and attacking deep behind enemy targets like oil facilities and military bases inside Russia. The images that have been flooding in, from long-line gas queues in Moscow to black smoke billowing from a refinery in Omsk, to victims being rescued from demolished apartment blocks in Kyiv, illustrate this grinding duel of attrition. Zelensky told the Financial Times that if you stop an enemy on land and deny them sea dominance, then the next front becomes the sky, and in that contest it matters far less whose territory is larger. What really matters, he said, is the ability to block the enemy's fusillades. That brings us to one of the most serious logistical gaps, the shortage of interceptors, specifically Patriot missile defense systems. The United States, after a large-scale deployment of Patriot interceptors to counter threats from Iran, has very few left to share with Ukraine. Ukraine can shoot down drones and cruise missiles but does not have enough interceptors to protect itself from ballistic missiles. The shortage is more than a logistical snag, it is an existential threat to Ukraine's defensive strategy. Russia is producing about 60 Iskander missiles each month, according to Ukrainian intelligence, and those are the missiles most frequently launched at Ukrainian targets. In that environment, every Patriot missile gained on the battlefield can save thousands of civilians and maintain the resilience of the Ukrainian armed forces. So as the war shifts its focus from the trenches to the skies, the world's support in providing missiles becomes as crucial as painting the battlefield with artillery. Ukraine's success in the skies is no longer just about kinetic superiority, it's about mitigating the continuous missile threat that Russia is able to produce in quantity. The conflict is no longer a fight for territory alone, it is now a battle to deter a relentless aerial offensive, and that deterrence depends heavily on how many Patriot interceptors can be placed in the sky over Ukraine. Thank you for joining us as we continue to follow the evolving dynamics of this conflict. Stay tuned for more updates on the developments that shape the Ukrainian-Russian war.